pursuit, on a smooth pursuit. Yeah, we on the loose. In my mind, I say duck, duck, goose. Ego, get the noose. I cut the line, then I hit the deuce. Nigga, don't need you. Wait, hit rewind. It protect me too. Maybe that's the root, but bitch, I'm fine. I don't want your loot. Hard play like a loot. With my slime, got no fucking flu. Building institute, a smooth pursuit, on a smooth pursuit. Yeah, we on the loose. In my mind, I say duck, duck, goose. Ego, get the noose. I cut the line.
Hey guys, I know it's been a while. I'm hoping it's not too bad and echoey, but I just had this thought. Also, I work night shifts, so I work from 9 to 5. Like, I just came back from work. It's like 5, 6 a.m. right now, but I have energy. So a thought came to my mind as I was trying to go to sleep, and it was, what's the difference between complacency and peace? And my higher self arrived at the answer. Complacency is when something happens and you're left feeling that there's more that you can do. There's more that you could have done. Peace is when something happens and you come into it knowing that there's nothing to do. There's nothing to be done. So it's a very slight distinction, but it's important because when you're left, when something happens and you have that approach where it's like, damn, I could have done more. You start ruminating. You start rehearsing shit in your head that already passed and already comes and goes. It's already temporary to begin with. So when you have the approach of peace, or more, when peace approaches you with situations that happens in life, you don't feel like, it's not like you feel like you don't have to do anything. It's like you look at it and it's just like, it's already done. Like it's such a weird thing. It's presence itself. And oftentimes situations where something does need to be done, quote unquote, it kind of happens automatically. And as the more I've been just letting go, I said in a video before, I was like letting go of, actually I say it like this now, how my knowledge was getting in the way of my learning, where like I was catching myself obtain knowledge for the sake of intellectual comfort. It was like I was scared to leave the ego. And it was because I had so many misconceptions about enlightenment, where it's like the mind just disappears. That's not true. The ego will always exist. The difference is your relationship to it changes. So in terms of the consciousness levels that I created when I first created this channel, it's nothing really changes except you have an increasingly harmonious relationship with this psychological self, the mind that wants to interpret things. Because you can see it from a step back, which all it is a matter of noticing. If you notice your tendency to interpret things, you gain awareness like automatically. There is no, in the third dimension, you do this to get to the fourth dimension. And then from the fourth dimension, you do this to get into the fifth dimension. And from the fifth dimension, you do this to get to the sixth dimension. You don't gotta do all that shit. And think about it, it makes even more sense, because if everything's unified, why would you have to do separated methods to do each state? It would be one unified thing that would just bring you out and out and out, because the actual effects would raise you. It has nothing to do really with the technique, which again, this isn't really a technique because we kind of do this a lot. We do this naturally, where we have a mode where we're in the thinking, like we're imagining, we use our imagination to fill in the gaps of our mind. And then we have this other mode that's like looking at how we essentially read our thoughts, as if our thoughts is a book. So yeah, that's the difference between complacency and peace. Complacency is when something happens and you're left feeling that you could have done more. But with peace, when something happens, you come with the knowing that there's nothing to be done. I find that just how frustrating language can be. There's a certain way, and there's a reason why people always speak in allegories and stuff like that, because you can only speak around something for someone to understand the full circle idea of it. Because when you start directly tackling something, and we try to break it down, we get into the mind again. And that's the world of subjectiveness. But the subjective perceives itself as objective. So like we look at the world and we're like, this is that, everything's solid and absolute. But then you go to another nigga and you tell him these things and you're like, I can't relate. So that should already tell you right there that everything that comes to or appears to the mind is something that always comes and goes. And so if we exist when we're in that deep sleep, the deep sleep state where there's no thoughts, there isn't any processing of self, unlike a dream, or it's just existence. If we still are there while that happens, then there has to be something beyond our thoughts that's able to be. There's nothing to it. There's no name, there's no label, there's nothing. Like, it's so funny because hand gestures are almost like a physical version of our telepathy than anything else, at least physically. Because fuck, sometimes like when we look into this stuff, we get so deep thinking that we are going deep when really we're not. We're creating complexities out of simple shit. And that's what happened. The mind, the intellectual self, the psychological self, we're not satisfied with simpleness because our mind loves digging and picking and, rewiring and just creating literally something out of nothing when we are the nothing. And looking from that, everything appears to us. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I got a haircut a couple days ago. I know you noticed because I always have dreads. Yeah, I like it. It took a second, but I got a lot of compliments, which I didn't expect because I was realizing like in the shower, my dreads were like hanging on a thread, like they're very loose at the roots. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna just cut it off because I'm gonna get my haircut the next day. And yeah, that's what I did. Had a spontaneous thought, went with it, worked out. That's most of life. You just gotta go with what fuels right. Like that shit is so important because even if it's like a habit, a negative habit you're intimately aware of, right? If you continue that habit with that awareness of like, okay, I'm aware of this, but I'm gonna do it, it makes it easier for you to detach from it because you're beginning to notice the actual workings of the mind and how you aren't that because you're clearly observing it. The act of observing is detaching from the mind. So as long as you can notice the tendency to interpret, you're Gucci. But yeah, that's all I had to speak on. I'm going to start making my videos more clear and concise because my laptop is fucked up, so I can't even edit. And I'm in hotel Wi-Fi, so it's very slow. So I have to make sure I'm just like kind of like one shot. So it's like film, out. And then I can just upload it like this because it would take some time before we get into this apartment, but I have high hopes for it because we already found the place. We were patient with it. They finished renovating the room and stuff like that, and it was all good. Another thing was I want to say thank you to I don't even want to fuck up his name, but Abhay Persona. I'm just gonna put it. I almost don't even want to like put my vocals of the name because I don't want to mess it up. But thank you for that donation when I put up on my channel about what Cash App and what was it, PayPal? Yeah, I really appreciate that. It was really cool too because he put like as the tag, it was like the name for teacher, and he was just thanking me for that, and I really appreciate that. I really do plan on educating on a larger scale in the future. And now that I got my girl, I know we can do anything. And all of us really can do whatever the fuck we want. We ain't got nothing to stress about in this world. This outside shit comes and goes. Even in terms of the system, everything it's reactive. Every time we take a step, they got to move 2 steps back and then think about what they're going to do next to try to counter what we do. We got that divine energy. Remember, them niggas, they divide and conquer. We divine and prosper. So never forget that shit. We're invulnerable. But we got flesh, so we can still be touched. So you need to be smart about that, at least until, we get to that state of spiritual perfection. So I know that was a lot. I missed the habit of making videos. And yeah, have a good one. Stay vibrational.
Nothing more to me except I am, yeah. Talk to a twin flame on Instagram, yeah. We gon' master self, that shit's a plan, yeah. 4 more months before I'm trying to travel out to Ecuador. Rest rusty on my Spanish, can you teach me something, por favor? With these expectations, can I leave them at the door? Hey, I see my after image, but where the fuck is the core? Hey, loving from within, I think my roots come from the Moors. Hey, I do that shadow work, I'm in Aries, I go to